Kirby's Dream Course was a game that started out as something completely different, but was retooled as a Kirby game during development. Kirby's Avalanche, on the other hand, actually had a full release in Japan, completely unrelated to the Kirby series. It was called Puyo Puyo and featured slime characters, named appropriately enough Puyos, from the RPG Mado Monogatari. The puzzle game was first released in 1991 and ended up becoming the biggest thing to hit Japanese arcades since Street Fighter II. In 1995, two versions of the game hit Western consoles, each rebranded with new characters. These were Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine for the Genesis, and Kirby's Avalanche for the Super Nintendo, or Kirby's Ghost Trap if you live in Europe. So, seeing as this game has about as much to do with Kirby as Tetris Attack has to do with Yoshi's Island, or Tetris for that matter, it would be pointless to review Kirby's Avalanche as a Kirby game, because it's not. It's a puzzle game, plain and simple. But you know what? It's actually really good. The first thing that greets you is a happy, digitized voice.
Kirby's Avalanche.
Back in '95, this was actually rather impressive.
Yes, excellent.
You continue to hear the voice as you play, congratulating you on different combos, but you are given the option to turn it off if you want. Gameplay is deceptively complex. At first glance, it looks very similar to Dr. Mario, where two colored blobs fall from the top of the screen and you can move and rotate them into position. And if you connect four together in any orientation, they disappear. It seems simple, but once you start playing, you'll quickly realize that thinking only in terms of four blobs at a time is a guaranteed death sentence. Oh sure, you can play the practice mode and have fun matching blobs for 20 minutes or so until you lose, but the real meat of this game is the combat mode, and this mode has one of the steepest learning curves I've ever seen in a puzzle game, because Kirby's Avalanche doesn't play like normal puzzle games. Games like Tetris and Dr. Mario are much more reactive. Your only goal is to survive for as long as possible until you lose. You work to get a high score or clear away viruses, but the whole time you're playing, you're on the defensive, trying to prevent yourself from losing due to a string of bad luck or act of hubris. Kirby's Avalanche, on the other hand, is a very proactive game. In order to win, you have to go on the offensive and actually cause your opponent to lose. And you know what? For a genre that was fairly new, that was a revolutionary idea. You weren't simply trying to do better than your opponent, you were trying to mentally dominate them. In this case, the mental domination comes in the form of building chains to send massive amounts of boulders at your opponent in the eponymous Avalanche. At later levels, the AI can literally bury you in a matter of seconds, and your only defense is to make your own massive combo in order to counter it. And don't even get me started on what the world-class professional players can do.
かなりまずかったような気がします。この後、打った連鎖が相手の方がたくさんくっつけてたんで、入ってきちゃうんですよね。なので帰るんですね、一つ。
This is another game that won't give up its congratulations screen so easily. The difficulty curve is almost logarithmic, with each opponent being about twice as hard as the previous one, and that does lead to a bit of strangeness with the progression of each character. Apparently Broom Hatter is more dangerous than Wispy Woods, but King Dedede is the final boss, so I guess that makes sense, if you can ever get to him, that is. So as I said before, Kirby's Avalanche has little to nothing to do with the Kirby series, but I would dare say it's more worthy of being called a Kirby game than Kirby's Dream Course. Between each round, you get a short exchange between Kirby and his opponent. Yeah, Kirby actually speaks in this one. So what does he have to say? Well, mostly cliche hero talk. But the dialogue between all these characters just adds that much more depth to the world of Kirby. Now, it's nothing groundbreaking, but it is nice to see that these characters aren't just nameless minions of King Dedede. They actually have something of a personality, even if it does feel completely out of character. As a puzzle game, Kirby's Avalanche is an amazingly addictive title if you can find someone to play it with, but you have to be ready to put in enough time to get good at it. For the average first-timer, a few 2 or 3 color combos is enough to annihilate you. But if you both start playing at the same time, learn off each other, and keep pushing yourself harder each round, by the end you'll be dropping 6 rows at a time without even thinking about it. This one is not meant for the casual Kirby fan. It's by no means a bad game, as long as you know what you're getting into. If you want a puzzle game, give it a shot, but if you want a new Kirby platformer, well, you're going to be waiting a little bit longer.